So, Boria, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I'd like to call to the floor to take a seat to Dr. Byron Joseph, UNCCD Chief Scientist, Mr. Tom Okello, Acting Executive Director of the National Forestry Authority of Uganda, Dr. Jen Njuguna, Acting Director of KEFRI, Kenya Forestry Research Institute, Dr. Kwan Ma, Officer in charge of the Division of Forest Management of ITTO. Mr. Esteban, he's joining us from online from Ecuador. And Dr. Carlos Ruiz, he's the team lead of the Adaptation Committee Unit of UNFCCC. Professor Lu Wenming, also the deputy. Yes, please. Okay. Once we sort out the technical details, we begin. Up to you. What do you prefer? Okay, let's begin. Thank you all the panelists and the keynote speakers for participating in our side event today here. We are going to discuss today about bamboo-based innovation for upscaling landscape restoration and green growth in developing countries. As you may know, linking landscape restoration and supply chains for green economy and industrial development has been a priority of the International Bamboo and Rattan Organization since its foundation in 1997. Our projects work on conservation and rehabilitation of natural capital as a viable source of vibrant supply chain development and economic growth in scale. INBAR has also extended its actions in making supply chains closed loop through bioeconomy development and substitution of plastics with natural products made from bamboo. The session today will showcase innovative approaches for bamboo planting material production, bamboo plantations, sustainable management, and harvesting for different applications. In addition, innovation in value addition focusing on improving efficiency through building a robust supply chain to minimize waste and maximize profit, adopting a circular economic model, diversify range products, and industries and small and medium enterprise promotion, investment, as well as technology and knowledge transfer through South-South and triangular cooperation to accelerate bamboo development in developing and least developed countries will all be presented by our distinguished speakers. With that, I would like to give the floor for the opening remarks to Professor Lu Wenming, the Deputy Director General of INBAR. He's since 2018 the Deputy Director General of INBAR, and he was also formerly the Director of the Division for International Cooperation of the Chinese Academy of Forestry for 16 years. Professor Lu Wenming, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this side event. Deforestation, forest and land degradation are some of the most pressing global environmental problems. About 25% of the total forest area worldwide is now considered degraded. Between 2015 and 2020, The rate of deforestation was estimated at 10 million hectares per year, also half of the 40 years ago, but still very severe, which is equal to the forest area of 35 football fields, disappearing every minute. Moreover, about 50% of agricultural land is degraded, resulting in poor ecosystem services, reduced biodiversity, and increased carbon dioxide emissions. Bamboo is an important resource that could play an enormous role in helping many developing countries restore degraded lands as well as mitigate and adapt to climate change, while also promoting green economies through its versatile uses and valuable addition applications. Bamboo is adapted to many different countries, diplomats capable of growing on and restoring the poorest soils. Bamboo's extensive root system enables it to prevent erosion and stabilize slopes. Bamboo is the fastest growing plant on the planet, allowing it to act as an important carbon sink that is even capable for some tree species. Bamboo can be easily integrated into forestry and agricultural landscapes, making it usable as a pioneer species for forest restorations. The International Bamboo and Rattan Organization is an intergovernmental organization established in 1997 to develop and promote innovative solutions to poverty and environmental sustainability using bamboo and rattan. INBAR is a supporting partner to the UN Decade for Ecosystem Restorations. INBAR's priority is to work with countries to focus on the use of bamboo and rattan as a strategic resources that support sustainable development and their own respective action plans for the green economy. INBAR member states have committed to plant 6 million hectares of bamboo forest to restore degraded land by 2030. Ethiopia, Uganda, Rwanda, Sri Lanka, Brazil, China, Kenya, and the Philippines have already included bamboo in their plans for land restoration and development plan. INBAR and its 50 member states together urge you to strengthen the role of bamboo in national, regional, and global practices in order to assist the countries of the global South to achieve the 23rd Agenda for Sustainable Development. We call for investment into bamboo-based initiative and the establishment of bamboo value chains with access to local, regional, and international markets via standard setting, the implementation of sustainable forest management, and technical renovation. And we stand ready to help you, and we encourage you to all work together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Liu, for your opening remarks. I would like to give the floor to Dr. Byron Joseph Orr. He's the Chief Scientist of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. And he's also a Professor Emeritus at the University of Arizona, where he also served as a NASA Geospatial Extension Specialist. Today he will give the floors on behalf of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. As you know, INBAR is one of the contributors, as bamboo is a key species on use for land restoration and for landscape restoration. Dr. Byron Joseph Orr, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, excellencies and esteemed guests, and Borja and Professor, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here joining INBAR in this important event, representing the UN Convention to Combat Desertification, which, as I think you know, is the sister Rio Convention to the Climate Change Convention and serves as the global platform to provide a vision and voice for land. Last month, the UNCCD launched its first ever data dashboard, compiling national reporting for 126 countries, The new data shows that land degradation is advancing at an astonishing rate across all regions between 2015 and 2019. We're talking about 100 million hectares of healthy and productive land each year being degraded faster than we can restore it. And it's particularly accelerating in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, which I think you know is where the major focus of the INBAR member states are. And as explained by the professor and will be highlighted in much greater detail by the other panelists, the scientific and traditional knowledge show how bamboo as a fast-growing grass plant and rattan as a spiky climbing palm can be a nature-based solution for the environment and people together. This becomes even more relevant because of the land degradation story, which is undercutting our ability to address all the SDGs. My colleague in the Secretariat, who is in Bonn right now, Xiaoxie Zhe, has explained to me that bamboo is a symbol in China for integrity, resistance, modesty, and loyalty, and that there is an old Chinese saying, "Zhu bu ke wu zhe," sorry for the pronunciation, which roughly translates, means people living could not leave bamboo. Indeed, both local traditional knowledge and science have revealed the great potential of these species. They grow in some of the world's poorest communities and are being used for land restoration and sustainable development. They can play a significant role in biodiversity conservation by creating habitat and also contributing to soil and water management, as was just described. If they are actively managed, they can sequester carbon at a rate comparable to fast-growing trees over short periods of time in a new plantation. And when grown, their economic versatility means that they can provide livelihood options for food, fiber, energy, and architectural material. This is the value chain side of it. So if grown at scale, they can actually serve as sustainable, low-carbon industrial raw materials, products, and commodities, replacing everything from single-use plastics to steel, supporting the green growth of developing countries. Harnessing this potential, we need to further embrace and advance the scientific research, technology innovation, commercial opportunities, and communities engagement through initiatives on the ground for sustainable value chain establishment. This is the role INBAR has been playing as an observer organization to the UNCCD, sharing their research findings and experience. And they've also led a global bamboo and rattan resources assessment, which is further improving the scientific understanding that we need for the multiple benefits assessment. INBAR member states have set land degradation neutrality targets. This is SDG target 15.3, and are seeking innovative solutions for delivering on those commitments to accelerate adoption of sustainable land management practices and ecologically sound restoration. And we encourage INBAR to continue to support creating bridges between the science behind all of this and the development of policies that would lead to environmentally sound and economically viable implementation. As you may know, the INBAR Secretariat is based in Beijing. What you may not know is that the new regional office for the UNCCD is now going to be also in Beijing. The host country agreement was recently signed. So we look forward to closer collaboration and with the aim of helping developing countries upscale landscape restoration and green growth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bayron, for sharing with us that great news. I think that will be very important for us to work closer with UNCCD for on the way towards the COP16 next year in Saudi Arabia, and also to upscale land restoration jointly with UNCCD. Let me go to our first panelist today, who will provide a presentation. sharing with us the experiences from Uganda, from bamboo development in Uganda. Mr. Tom Okelobon, he's the Executive Director of the National Forestry of Uganda, National Forestry Authority, and he is a key partner of INBAR, working together in our to implement our projects in Uganda. He works as the ED of the National Forestry Authority, and he's a member also of the IUCN World Commissions on Protected Areas, represents Uganda on the Foreign Investment Technical Subcommittee of the Climate Investment Fund, and sits in several steering committees overseeing implementation of environment projects and programs in Uganda, including for INBAR. So with that, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Tom Okello to present on the bamboo strategy and its impact on bamboo development in Uganda. Mr. Okello, you have the floor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Boja, for the introduction, and distinguished excellencies and participants. I want to share with you what we are calling the Uganda Bamboo Strategy and Action Plan 2019 to 2029. As a matter of introduction, Uganda is one of the countries in the eastern part of Africa, and with a population of which is very fastly growing at a rate of about 3.2% per annum. The land area is 240,000 square kilometers, and we have naturally occurring bamboo which sits on about 55,000 hectares. The naturally occurring bamboo are mainly found on protected areas, which is national parks and forest reserves. We have two types, two domestic species, that is the lowland bamboo and then the highland bamboo, which is found in an altitude of about 2,500 to 3,000 meters above sea level. Because of the existence of the naturally occurring bamboo and also because of the existence of the natural occurring bamboo and also the...
Yes, Mr. Okello, you can use that remote control to use that screen of
Not on yet. No picture.
This one is not working, yeah. It is not working.
Something wrong, yeah.
Sylvia, the screen is not working here. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Please continue.
Because of the natural occurring bamboo in the country, and with Uganda joined INBAR many years ago, about 20 years ago, and is a member of INBAR. And INBAR supported Uganda to develop the Uganda Bamboo Strategy and Action Plan between 2018 to 2019. This strategy was eventually approved and endorsed in 2019 with the core objectives of propelling bamboo green economic development and participating in international markets. We also wanted to manage the natural occurring bamboo resources. I've told you we have about 55,000 hectares, but also to develop other species of bamboo to fit into the market. We expected this strategy to help us create jobs and also business, but also to be used for restoring of the ecosystem of the degraded landscape. Under the strategy, the country plans to restore 375,000 hectares of degraded landscape by 2030, which is 15% of the 2.5 million hectares under the Ugandan ambitions under the Bond Challenge of 2.5 million hectares. We also anticipated that this strategy, once implemented by year 10, we should have created around 150,000 full-time jobs and also producing about 140 million bamboo poles every year. What are our achievements to date? To date, around 3 million bamboo quality planting materials have been produced for land restoration. We have restored close to 2,800 hectares, which have been planted along the river banks and even on people's land, private land. We have planted 1,900 hectares of bamboo in homesteads to help the communities meet the energy demand. In Uganda, we are still using about 80% of the households still use fuel wood as their main source of energy. So we noted that bamboo, because of its fast growth, can be a very good alternative to the wood which they have been getting from the natural forest. We have 625 people have been trained on how to propagate bamboo, because basically before, I would tell you that the two natural occurring bamboo, especially the lowland bamboo which occurs around people's homes and in people's farmland, was basically regarded as a weed. Many people didn't like it because of its colonizing capacity, because they didn't know the potential of bamboo. To date, we have people raising bamboo seedlings in their households for planting. We have designated 10,000 hectares under a community-led approach, which we think these communities and a cooperative can plant 10,000 hectares of bamboo. This is in northern part of the country, and which can be used to trade, to generate carbon credits. So this is a new development which we are doing, and we are piloting it in the northern part of the country. We expect when we manage to propagate all the 10,000 hectares, then possibly we can look at bamboo industrialization. Under impact 2 of creation of green jobs and business opportunities, we have developed capacities for around 1,500 beneficiaries on diversified bamboo products, including alternatives to plastic products. We organize 15 entrepreneurship and business development training courses. Through INVA, we have also managed to fly in potential investors from China, from Ethiopia, from Kenya, to come and see our bamboo plantations and see if we can develop some small to medium enterprises. We have 50 small to medium enterprises which have been supported with modern tools and equipment. You can see in that picture there is a dryer there which we are using for drying bamboo poles, which can then go into, be treated for the market, for construction especially. We have trained 2,184 women households, and these were trained in especially charcoal business, where they are using bamboo. They collect the charcoal waste, not only from bamboo, but from other wood, and then they convert it into briquettes and supply it to one of the farmers who have already, who was supported by INBA and has a modern briquette making machine, which we are making briquettes from bamboo and supplying the local market. We have supported 3 medium-scale bamboo industries, including the one you are seeing where there is that dryer and the bamboo treatment plant. And we have created jobs opportunities for around 10,000 rural farmers. These are people who are planting bamboo. I've talked to you about the 10,000 hectares we are doing in northern Uganda. We already have some small to medium enterprises producing toothpicks. In the country, we are producing some other bamboo products. Yes, though still at a lower scale, but we expect with the increasing market and also with the increasing awareness to develop more in the near future. We have tried to build the local initiatives. There is one bamboo association which has been formed with over 1,000 active members. This association, we have given them 500 hectares of degraded forest land to restore with bamboo. And
Mr. Okello, you have 1 minute.
okay.
Thank you.
And then we have also established multi-supply chains. We have developed 3 national standards because you see bamboo is a new product in the market. So we are developing standards to facilitate trade in bamboo, especially to compete in the international market. And then we are doing awareness. We have talked to the bankers to see if they can support bamboo farmers with some loan scheme, which can be of affordable rates so that they can propagate and also import machines for the bamboo development. That is my presentation. I thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Okello, for sharing with us the opportunities, also that the bamboo industry is bringing to restore landscape restoration in Uganda, and also all the work done through our projects and all the beneficiaries that are doing a lot of contribution to upscale the bamboo industry in Uganda, not only in Uganda but also in other countries in East Africa. Thank you for that. With that, I'll give the floor to our next panelist, Dr. Jen Njuguna. She's the acting director of the Kenya Forestry Research Institute, and she's also the secretary of the board of the Kenya Environment and Forestry Research Institute. She also headed as a senior deputy director, research and development at KEFRI, and she will share with us today the landscape restoration opportunities with bamboo in Kenya. Dr. Jen, would you like to come to give the presentation here? Please, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Is it on?
No.
The mic on? Or I use this one?
It's on.
Is it working?
Yes.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Jen Njuguna. I come from KEFRI, and I want to give you a short presentation of what we are doing with bamboo, agreeing with the first three presenters and my colleague and neighbor from Uganda. We want to say that bamboo in Kenya is a crop that is gaining popularity. Kenya is a low forest cover country, and therefore we have less than 10% that is forest cover. And we have over just slightly 12% of the tree cover. Therefore, according to our presentations and commitments, we had planned to restore 5.1 million hectares, but the government, through the 15 billion tree growing strategy, has doubled that to 10.6 million hectares of degraded forests. So without talking a lot about the restoration, we are here to talk about why we need bamboo for restoration in the country. And we have priority areas for where to use bamboo in the country. Of course, we have 7 of them. We have reforestation of natural forests, rehabilitation of degraded forests, agroforestry, commercial plantations using bamboo, and in the silvopastoral systems, in the regional restoration, and of course, tree-based buffer zones along bodies and also the roadways. How do we use bamboo in restoration? We have over 22 species in the country, but we only have 1 indigenous bamboo that is in the highlands. The other 21 species were introduced from India and China, and therefore we find that most of the bamboo resources are in the gazetted lands or protected areas, over 130,000 hectares, but they are not accessible to the public because in the protected areas. We have established so far about 10,000 hectares. As my colleague from Uganda said, there has been a slow adoption of the bamboo resource for various reasons, cultural and also perception that bamboo brings snakes. And in Kenya, we don't like snakes. So we have over 30 years of research also from KEFRI. And for that, we have done the species to site matching to tell the Kenyans where to grow this bamboo. It is a 16th cash crop, and it was declared as a cash crop in 2020. And since that time, we have seen lots of growth in bamboo as a cash crop and also as a strategy to regreen Kenya. We're expecting to grow over 225 million seedlings for the 15 billion tree strategy to cover over 50,000 hectares. Therefore, we have an ambition and we have a plan we are seeking for support. Examples of bamboo in restoration, you can see the African landscape is very degraded in most areas, also because of overutilization. These are some of the, this is the same area before it was restored with bamboo, and 3 years later, this is what you find. So bamboo is really a crop that can transform the country. We also have specific areas where we have worked with INBA in a county called Busia. And again, we see most of the land there is used for sand harvesting. And of course, sand harvesting causes a lot of degradation. And the overuse of our wetlands has resulted to loss of water in the wetlands. And therefore, in some of these areas where we have planted bamboo, we see a complete transformation in the landscape. We also have the flooding that is very common in Kenya along our river valleys. Right now, we are experiencing the El Nino, and a lot of our people are actually drowning. We have lost slightly about 80 people have drowned, not counting the number of livestock that we have lost from our rivers. So part of what we are using bamboo for is building dikes to stabilize the river banks, where to protect the rivers. We also find that where we have bamboo planted, in some places it's planted for aesthetic purposes, where you also use them as meeting rooms in the hot areas. This is a Gariza. This is a 1-year-old bamboo, and here is one of our very, very chaotic rivers called River Tana. And we have started some trials to establish if bamboo could be of better use to these places which are always degraded and flooded most of the year. So this is one of our scientists from Kefri, and this is a 1-year-old bamboo. It's actually doing well in a very hot area. Now, why do we use bamboo, or how can bamboo for livelihoods spur restoration options? Of course, we have, you can see most of the bamboo is used for poles. And also we have the bamboo nursery. This is a big business in Kenya where for those who are producing seedlings. Also for those who are enjoined or involved in planting, it's also a business case. And of course, it's for construction. We also have other products that we're working on together with INBA. That is production of charcoal, and this is also charcoal briquettes, and it's a high-value crop as it is now. We are also promoting the use of bamboo in terms of affordable housing. Our government has several pillars, and one of it is affordable housing. Being a low forest cover, bamboo comes in very well because it is fast-growing and can be used easily by a number of people. Bamboo is also used for a lot of it for making baskets and other than in the cottage industry. And here we have a factory that is coming up in terms of making toothpicks. We always make a joke that we import toothpicks all the way from China. So we are hoping that bamboo can be one of the alternative crops. And also here we are using props for use in horticultural farming, especially in growing of passion fruits. These are, of course, also other products that are made from bamboo, and also the accessories, and of course, high-value products that will spur the use of bamboo in restoration. Lastly, we have very high-value buildings that are using bamboo, and we are happy because using this kind of infrastructure, who have used the bamboo in flooring and also in partitions, we find that there's more demand for bamboo and therefore gaining more popularity among the farmers. We also have companies that are using bamboo culms for production of electricity transmission poles called eco poles. And this also is using a lot of bamboo, and therefore more farmers are able to grow bamboo because there's a market. So in conclusion, we want to say that bamboo has a limited potential in Kenya. We have demonstrated its use in climate resilience and landscape restoration. It's continued being accepted by the communities slowly. There's need to increase bamboo planting, although initially it is a heavy investment because the bamboo seedlings are expensive. We can also use it for successful PPP, that is the involvement of the private sector in the establishment of bamboo and also in the utilization of bamboo. This is some of the beautiful products that some women groups and youth moves are making. Thank you for listening to me. And we say that when you plant bamboo, you plant the future of your grandchildren because it will be there for over 70 years. Thank you very much.
Very nice.
Okay. With that, I'll go to our next speaker, since we are running out of time, who will introduce the activities on bamboo of the International Tropical and Timber Organization, ITTO, based in Yokohama in Japan, Dr. Juan Okey Ma. He currently leads ITTO's Forest Management Division in Yokohama, and he specializes in tropical forest management, focusing on ecosystem restoration and forest-based climate adaptation and mitigation for social ecological resilience. Dr. Ma, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The great opportunity for us to join and to make a presentation. So I'd like today share some lesson from bamboo utilization in Southeast Asia, particularly Indonesia. And also I'd like to learn the progress of the bamboo utilization in many countries. It was wonderful to learn from Uganda and Kenya. I think we learned so much the opportunity or potential of bamboo utilization, not only livelihood, particularly the carbon, some potential. I think this is a great momentum. My organization, more or less the tropical country we are working, more the sympodial bamboo. We had the monopodial bamboo in China, but this is our some experience. So ITTO is just, we are working with our member for the promotion of sustainable management of tropical resources. And then also we are trying to promote sustainable trade in order to contribute. Oh, thank you. This is better. Yes, I think this is better. So ITTO is located in the Yokohama, Japan, and we are working also all our partners, including INBA. INBA is our long-term friend. Somehow the INBA 1997, ITTO was 10 years ahead of the INBA, just 10 years ago. So we had working some how to manage the forestry sector, some of the policy guideline to the policymaker and practitioner, like how to make the social management, restoration, biodiversity, prevention of fire. I think this is kind of the portfolio. And I think some of you are interested. You may visit our website to collect some of the relevant information. I think the ITT also very much promote not only timber, also non-timber forest. Bamboo, I would say, is interesting. So bamboo is emerging rapidly, being increasing promoted in the global marketplace. Congratulations, INBA, great job. I have seen the wonderful innovation. Particularly this the hobby innovation. I really understand. Particularly the bamboo, they learn from timber, and then remarkable way, fantastic way to improve all the product development. So marketplace, we have seen, I think not much time here, but we have seen a lot of remarkable story from the bamboo. Amazing. So once again, congratulations to bamboo. We understand the bamboo can contribute sustainable forest management Absolutely. I mean, the bamboo, one of part of non-timber, but very important, as I mentioned, green gold. I would say green gold. So we are like my organization promotes so much the timber, non-timber, but I would say bamboo, green gold, like some of species, yellow gold, like teak, yellow gold, like no, the yellow gold. So green gold, congratulations. So ITTO, I work with some project in China, some like the monoculture bamboo in Ghana or Peru, some etc. So today I will just share some of the information in the bamboo utilization Indonesia. I think similar things like Uganda, Kenya. I think this is some of situation. We received some funding from Japan, Switzerland, Australia. We finished 2017. Recently, we had some evaluation, export evaluation. What happened after the project plan? So I'd like to share some what we learned and what kind of some lesson can be shared with you, this forum. And Indonesia, I would focus in the particularly this Bali, some Bali, and this is important, Lombok and Bali. So focus on the Bali province and Nusa Tenggara and this area. So I think that this is could not cover also all Sumatra, Kalimantan, but based on Bali. So some of story came from the Bali to promote bamboo in a integrated way. So we try to bring up from the scale up from the local to regional and national, and then international, like INBA is important partner. So our team in Indonesia closely work with INBA, so join the also sharing, and I think this is one of our good experience. INBA is remarkable work, and our people also close work. I think the INBA website also, I remember, captured this the project. So similar things are the project. Also plantation is important, quality plantation. I think this is some remarkably important, how to bring up some of the quality seedling. As I understand, some of the genetic, some improved like tissue culture and mass production, also they export to some seedling to Africa because the energy production. So seedling is important part. And also like the other country also, particularly Bali, handicraft is very important, is income generation. So bamboo handicraft has been wonderful. Particularly the lady, when some of you visited the Bali, you see so much the handicraft. Like 6 months project, 1 year project, but the handicraft also one of the interesting from the bamboo various. And then also like the laminate bamboo and etc. Also, I could not hear very much, but the bamboo energy, somehow the good working with some pilot case, bamboo energy, some more the small, medium scale bamboo energy factory, and that was interesting. So this is some of the how we work with the INBA. I think this Indonesian case. So 1,000 village, bamboo village initiative in Indonesia. So more or less the adaptation is important, not only the mitigation, adaptation. So as example of adaptation, this bamboo village become a more the national, some kind of agenda or some national local development. So local community, 1,000 village movement working very well. I saw some of the much progress. So adaptation and mitigation through the bamboo. So bamboo village, yeah, this is somehow how do they promote. Here. So I think there's some information from the INBA website here. We are out of the INBA website here to get here. So what kind of learning? I think this is, as I mentioned, bamboo villages, somewhat integrated approach. Also, we feel some kind of integrated management approach is useful. And also, I think that the partnership, collaboration, I think this also research institute, also private sector, small-scale private sector, also local government. I think the network is very important, and also capacity building of the whole sector, particularly the industry sector. I think they learn from the all like this the timber business, but bamboo business. I think that also very good. And I think our project, like 4 years, work with the community, and also we are very much serious about how to sustain the project work after project completion, like 4 years later. We are also some of success, some of not successful. But this kind of, this case, I would say, very successful. I mean, they self also promoting after the project completion. Particularly the Bamboo Foundation, the development in Indonesia, more the growing up, I mean, connection with the main supporter, including INBA and the national institution. And also there, Indonesia continues working with INBA, SIPO, and the ICRAB. I think this is great, some continuation of the bamboo initiative, which has been established by the ITTO without the donor support. And I'd like to share my final slide. So last 2022, Indonesia was very proud of G20 summit in Bali. Bali is a symbol of the handicraft, what wooden, I mean, bamboo, the village. And at the time, we learned that G20 bamboo dome, and this is a temporary structure for serving a launch spot for the World 20, the leaders during the November Cup at the G20. So I think that this is somehow how the Indonesia also in support with other partners and promoting the bamboo. Also, I learned that G7 also bamboo pavilion. When I joined this Nairobi, this Expo City, we have seen a wonderful structure, but I hope the INBA can contribute bamboo pavilions here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ma, for sharing with us the partnership between INBAR and ITTO and the activities we have done in the past. And I think ITTO is also a very important organization for us. As you know, we are almost 60. To our next speaker, who will join us, he sent us a pre-recorded of urban development and housing of Ecuador, where we have had bamboo for construction of social housing. Bamboo to supply high quality volumes of bamboo for the National Housing Program at the Ministry. Floor, Silvia, thank you.
Greetings everyone, it is a pleasure for me to share this session with you, and I thank INBER for the invitation and for promoting this important dialogue. In the next few minutes, I want to share the main results that have been achieved in Ecuador to promote the sustainable management of bamboo as a quality raw material, and that is being used for the construction of social housing as part of the National Housing Policy executed by the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing of Ecuador. I want to highlight that the advances that I will share with you are the product of the articulated effort and committed participation of different actors that are part of the bamboo sector in my country, and that, thanks to the support of INBAR, are currently a reference in the Latin America and the Caribbean region. By way of background, it is worth highlighting two relevant events that occurred in Ecuador during 2016. The first was the celebration of the United Nations Conference on Housing and Sustainable Urban Development that took place in Quito, and which resulted in the approval of the new Urban Agenda, which is a guiding instrument to accelerate the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, mainly SDG 11 on sustainable cities and communities. The second event I wanted to refer to was the earthquake that occurred on the Ecuadorian coast, which unfortunately caused the death of around 700 people and more than 6,000 injured. However, the death toll could have been much higher, but many of the houses in the most affected areas were made of bamboo, which kept many lives safe. Bamboo in Ecuador is a local resource that people have used for thousands of years to build their homes. the 2016 earthquake, vindicated the benefits of bamboo in construction, as this material shows its resistance characteristics and its behavior against earthquakes, which positioned this resource and even promoted the approval of a chapter of the Ecuadorian construction standard on bamboo structures. As part of the reconstruction process, several initiatives, both public and private, promoted the use of bamboo as a construction material. In this regard, it is worth highlighting the important role played by the different actors that are part of the Bamboo Sector Roundtable of Ecuador to promote proper management and construction with bamboo through training programs and the promotion of the construction of public infrastructure with bamboo. Without a doubt, it was important that after the earthquake, bamboo was positioned as a raw material for construction, but it was also necessary to promote its use for sustainable construction given its high potential in environmental and economic terms. According to the United Nations Environment Programme, 39% of carbon emissions released into the atmosphere worldwide originate from the construction and use of buildings. Therefore, bamboo is an alternative to climate change since the bamboo forests contribute to climate change mitigation due to their ability to capture carbon. In this regard, carbon markets are beginning to recognize bamboo and reward reforestation and afforestation with this resource. Additionally, the use of bamboo is an alternative to replace the use of wood, and its use contributes to the reduction of CO2 emissions. It is a resource with high potential because all parts of the plant are usable, and it is a versatile resource. In Ecuador, more than 1,500 uses of bamboo have been documented as housing, furniture, food, among others. On the other hand, bamboo in Ecuador constitutes a sustainable resource that represents part of the livelihoods of inhabitants of rural areas. By 2017, the sector had a direct influence on 12% of total employment in the agricultural sector. In this context, as part of the implementation of the public policy on habitat and housing, the construction of housing solutions that incorporate sustainable parameters has been considered, and the use of bamboo as a construction material is one of the alternatives. The Ministry of Urban Development and Housing incorporated among its proposal housing typologies that use bamboo as a construction material. These homes comply with the Ecuadorian construction standard. They are sustainable homes with the bioclimatic design strategies, safe, durable, and comfortable. The use of bamboo and other sustainable materials within construction allows, on the one hand, to generate income for bamboo producers and, on the other hand, to generate employment, boosting the local economies of the territories where these constructions are carried out. Currently, there are more than 1,300 homes that are built in the country using bamboo. Promoting adequate use of bamboo in construction as part of the implementation of the National Habitat and Housing Policy requires the strengthening of local processes that allow for qualified labor and quality raw materials. In this regard, INVAR continues to develop a capacity building program that already presents important results, training people, job placement, certified personnel, research projects, among others. All of this constitutes the support for the construction of social housing with bamboo that is currently promoted in Ecuador. Finally, I want to propose some strategies that I consider are key to promoting sustainable construction and addressing climate change. First, the importance of disseminated good practices and knowledge, an effort that must be maintained and that INVAR is strongly promoting at the regional level. Second, the need to generate many more capacity building programs, even as an adaptation measure, empowering the communities themselves. And third, the relevance of promoting articulated processes that connect at the different levels and that strengthen integral processes. The use of bamboo represents a real alternative to climate change. Let us continue working together towards sustainable development. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Esteban, for your support to INBAR, also for the work you have done with the past administration to enhance the utilization of bamboo in the social housing program, as well as mainstreaming it for community development with our projects in different provinces of Ecuador. I think Ecuador is a real example that we always showcase in utilizing bamboo for community development and landscape restoration, with a final aim of, in this case, utilizing it for the construction industry. Thank you very much for that. With that, I'll go to our last speaker today, but a very important one, Dr. Carlos Ruiz Garbia. He's the team lead of the Adaptation Committee Unit of the UNFCCC, and he has been a very important person to enhance our collaboration, our partnership with UNFCCC to mainstream the utilization of bamboo as a contribution to the Paris Accord. So I would like to give Carlos the floor to talk about the opportunities of bamboo in the national adaptation plans and the national determined contribution in the tropics. Carlos, you have the floor.
Hola. Hello?
Yep, yep.
Do you hear me? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and congratulations, INBAR, for organizing this important event. It's a pleasure today. Also, congratulations to the Global Innovation Hub for its third edition of the COP engagement that is proven to be very impactful. I'm very privileged to have such a panel today, very interested to hear about the developments that are happening in the countries. We learned from Kenya, Uganda, Ecuador, and this is, of course, the result and the efforts that are behind, as well, of the network on bamboo that is identifying this important activity as a non-brainer. And if we connect this to the climate change agenda, I will then explain why it's a no-brainer. And it's also a privilege to be, of course, with ITTO and our also brother organization, UNCCD, in this endeavor. So looking forward to promote our collaboration. I can't hear myself back, but I hope you can hear well. Okay, yeah, great. Can hear you. So my presentation, I will try to expedite, but I will like to cover the following parts. I'd like to explain why, in our view, bamboo is a non-brainer, why there is such a momentum, and how is it becoming more evident in the climate agenda, and how can we capitalize and identify key developments that are happening at this COP that can help us to propel efforts on bamboo development and implementation. I will then move to some quick examples of NAPS and NDC. These are tools within the Paris Agreement that need to be used and are at disposal of countries, particularly in the tropics, to make best use of the resources and the means of implementations that are provided to countries to advance on this agenda. And finally, I will share with you the soft launching of a tool that can help you to have the big picture on the development of NAPS. So I believe so first of all, why we are talking about bamboo? We are all aware of what science is telling us in terms of what we need to do to tackle climate change. We also know the rate of urgency that is critical. So we need to find transformative, innovate, shift paradigm ways to address what science is recommending. And bamboo is one of these tools that really bring us all the package. And you see that it's also globally globally impactful. So not only in the tropics, but also through the flows that we can achieve in the markets in the global north, it can be also very impactful in, for example, achieving sustainable development goals for sustainable building. We hear today a lot of this, and it has a unique feature that brings both mitigation and adaptation potential for action. So in terms of mitigation, the IPCC has identified a number of recommendations. Sustainable buildings is one of them, but also there are other features that goes into carbon sequestration, removals that are under discussion under Article 6.4 at this COP. But on adaptation, we know that also biodiversity and restoration is building resilience that will be very compatible with the adaptation agenda. In addition to this, we have a number of different benefits. I don't want to elaborate on them because you hear much about the co-benefit of bamboo, but it's very important to keep an eye that these co-benefits beyond the climate agenda, beyond the SDGs, they also can help us to bring us peace, prosperity, but more importantly, be the foundation for partnership, for people, and for the planet. So it's a very powerful tool that can encompass all of these desired futures. This is our second edition of the Global Innovation Hub. Last year, we have a very productive session with the focus on what is needed as opposed to what is perceived as currently possible. What is needed if we change our mindset and instead of trying to decarbonize existing sectors, for example, the cement industry that can be a little bit, is of course much needed, but it can be marginal given the piece of development in terms of technologies. If we change and have a paradigm change in using more sustainable materials that are coming from sustainable sources such as bamboo, the impacts of the building sector and the sustainable urban developments can be higher. And so that's why last year we put this space for discussing how to achieve such a paradigm shift. So this year we will be looking into other three principles that I will explain at the end. There is momentum, and this is the second part of my presentation. You know that this is now under the attention of the global agenda. Last year at COP, there were interesting announcements also from Global North on identifying how this can propel demand. So there was an interesting announcement to increase demand from developing countries, particularly the tropics, to look into technologies, but also innovations that can help to use the bamboo, not as we know today, but also in other applications like 3D printing and even other manufacturing activities that can be also very innovative. The World Economic Forum this year also provided a very important guidance, set of recommendations on how this can really shift the needle on climate change, while at the same time addressing the construction demands, particularly for the most vulnerable. And we learned from Ecuador the potential also to address some other vulnerability aspects such as earthquakes. I won't elaborate much. I know that we need to move, but at this COP, keep an eye on the developments. I just put a collection of different announcements by the COP presidency, and you could see that many of these things are perfectly compatible to our discussions today. It's important now to translate these important commitments and the tools that the presidency and the COP outcomes are providing and put them into practice, moving ahead with the implementation on the ground for the tropics, but also beyond that, addressing the demands worldwide. I put a couple of examples. I'm being informed that I need to rush, but Ecuador was one of them. Ecuador has been a good example among many others. We also, with my colleagues at INVAR, we also look into Indonesia, Vietnam, of course, Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya. They've been champions in using these climate change tools to advance their strategies for the implementation of activity and action when implementing bamboo plantations in their countries. So this is here a series of examples of Ecuador that has helped them to define, for example, specific strategy plans for implementation of bamboo actions. We won't go into the details, but now it's a privilege really to see how these outcomes of these efforts are being reflected in the recent national communication. So we are seeing in figures what has been achieved, what are adaptation measures, and of course, the launching of various initiatives to address mitigation commitments as well. This is an example from Indonesia. So they have an unconditional target that includes restoration of ecosystems. And also we saw in one of the presentations, I believe it was from ITTO, the action they are undertaking. And we need to amplify this because the NDCs are critical to achieve the 43% reduction that is required by science and recommended by science to keep the trajectory below 1.5. So this is all well connected, and by doing this and by accessing to these climate change Paris Agreement tools, it's also easier to unlock climate finance from the funds like the GCF, Adaptation Fund, etc. So we are encouraged to build a community, but also to share the best practices that will help countries to expedite their work in terms of NDCs. To finalize the last part of my presentation, I'd like to share with you the soft launching of an initiative. It's called the Status of Adaptation. We are building a system under the leadership of the Adaptation Committee that it will create a database, a platform to bring together all the fragmented documents in the adaptation cycle of documents within the Paris Agreement, including the NAPs, the national communications adaptations, the VURs. There is a number of different tools that countries submit regularly. So this initiative is bringing all together so that we can have the big picture of what's going on and the effectiveness of adaptation actions. And the vision is, of course, with this initiative to have a modular approach that will then factor in activities and use of different sustainable materials such as bamboo. So stay tuned and please be part of this movement. My last words is I don't want to wrap up really all what we hear today, but make best use of the tools that we have available under the Paris Agreement. It's very important that we go hand in hand using them, and of course we are all part of the solution. We need to account for the 1.5, but also for the upcoming global goal on adaptation and the signals of the global stock take, and how we harmonize all of this with the principles of the Global Innovation Hub. I've been really delighted to hear some guidance on this from Masamba on sharing, caring, and daring. We have here today that sharing is very important. We need to share communities of best practices, establish them, and facilitate the transfer of technology so that we propel action. Caring, there is much responsibilities around vulnerable communities, but daring, we really need to move into paradigm shift. And for that, we need to establish the networks and move ahead with initiatives. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Carlos, for providing an overview on the potential of bamboo to contribute to the national adaptation plans and also the overall UNFCCC convention. I want to conclude by thanking all the speakers, our UN convention, Dr. Carlos, also our member states, presented by Dr. Ken, by Dr. Carlos, and also, of course, to our ITTO, has also given and today we have also so we have put a little bit of everything. Examples from Africa, so I think we'll get an overall picture of the potential of how we can land it on also all the speakers. And lastly, I would like to invite all of you to continue the conversation. We have another two side events tomorrow one in China Pavilion at 1 p.m. in B5 area in Building 58, and another one on bioeconomy value chain development for climate change mitigation and resilience of bamboo in side event 3 in B6 area, Building 78. That one is at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So, and finally, I'd like to invite you all to visit our booth, which is in B6 area, booth 26. If you have any questions, yes, madam. No, we don't have time for questions, but we can continue later, madam. No problem. Thank you all very much.